Hello and welcome, and today we have another speaker interview, and I think this is going to be one of the most popular sessions at this year's MMS. This is the art of deploying Windows 8.1 with ConfigMgr 2012 R2, and today we have Johan and Mikael join us. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey there, how are you?
Hey, all right, well guys, thanks for joining us. You guys have been around the speaking circuit in System Center. I think anyone who's been to a previous MMS has probably heard of you, heard of your sessions, but for those people maybe new to the realm of ConfigMgr and OSD, if you could just please introduce yourselves for the audience here, tell us what you do.
You want to start, Mike?
I can start, that's fine. Yeah. So I've been doing OS deployment forever. I can't even really remember when I started. I think it was like when they had these 5 1/4 floppies. That's, very many years ago. And for some reason, it's kind of fun to do OS deployment. It's a creation process. You start something, right? I've always been doing both servers and clients. I don't really see any difference. It's just Windows. And I met Johan a couple of years ago, and we were bitter competitors at that time. No, we weren't bitter, but we were competing because we worked for different companies. And well, then we start working for the same company, start writing books together. And it turns out that we are, as private persons, very different. You have to agree on that, right? Extremely different. But when it comes to OSD, we pretty much share the exact same idea and philosophy how that should be done, which means automated, automated, and automated.
Yeah, automation is king.
Yep. That's pretty much me.
Great. Johan?
Well, obviously, my name is Johan, and as Michael, I've been around doing deployment for a very long time. I started when I was 16, went down to a local computer shop after school, helped them assemble computers and deploy them. It was DOS back then. Pull down a zip file from a network server. I've been doing it since, and that was 25 years ago. So that means two things. One, I'm old. And the second is I might not have seen everything, but I've seen a lot. And during the sessions that we have at MMS, we try to share our notes from the field and what we learned being, we spent our working days traveling this blue planet of ours, helping customers implement OSD solutions. And we try to share as many tips and tricks as we possibly can throughout the conference.
Great. Yeah, I think a lot of the people watching are probably familiar with their work. I mean, they see you guys on the session list and they probably get really excited. So you guys talked a little bit about the long history of operating system deployment, and this session is kind of the we'll call it the latest and greatest. It's Windows 8.1. So if you guys could just start talking about what this session is all about, and what people are going to learn at this session.
Well, first of all, the session title might include Windows 8.1, but everything we do and say in the session is equally applicable for Windows 7 deployment as well, because currently that is what most companies are deploying. So it doesn't really matter if you are hooked up into Windows 7 or Windows 8. We hope you're hooked up to one of them, because if you're still doing XP deployments, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But
It's
that's
also
the main thing.
It's also applicable to server deployment pretty much, because it's the same process, the same routine, same something. So even Vista, but I really hope nobody's actually deploying Vista anymore. But from the Vista time frame up to Windows 8.1, the method you're doing is going to be the same, right? So.
Yes.
So even if it says 8.1, I agree, it's applicable to 7. And things has changed over the years. And one of the things that has changed is PowerShell. That means that in the session, we will, of course, add things that we have been doing using like VB script is now possible to do in PowerShell, and it's easier. So we changed some of the things we've been doing forever in VB script and batch files. God forbid batch files, but now it's all PowerShell. So it's going to be PowerShell, right?
Yeah. And the focus for the sessions is obviously to provide you techniques that are well proven and just works. The beautiful thing about traveling a lot and visiting many different companies is that after a while you learn the hard way what works and what doesn't work. And so we won't show you every possible combination there is of using the products. We will show you what we know works out there. And as Mikael said, well, we like automation, so we try to automate as much as possible when we build our solutions.
Great. Now, one thing that I'm wondering if you guys are seeing this, because I feel like this might be something a lot of our attendees, the same boat a lot of our attendees might be in. And I know I keep going back to the Windows 8.1 thing, but now that Windows 8.1 is out, 8.1 had a lot of additions and changes that appealed to enterprise, and I think it's mature enough now that we're seeing a lot of enterprises actually beginning to start moving or beginning to look into using Windows 8 in their environments. Is that something you guys have been seeing?
Technology-wise, yes, they just pretty much hate the UI of the product. They love what's being going on in the background and how much more solid it is, and network is brilliant. Just do a wireless configuration of Windows 8.1 compared with Windows 7 and start to roam through different access points, and you realize it's a whole different ball game running on Windows 8.1. It consumes less memory. It's faster playing games if you like that. I know Mikael likes to play World of Tanks, and I'm a StarCraft fan, so we do that. But the adoption rate has been really slow. So I think currently a lot of people are very happy with the Windows 7 platform as it is. And some of them are even waiting for, the next upcoming release of Windows.
It's true. We do meet IT departments though that says, well, we can't really deploy 8.1 even if we do have the licenses and we do have the technology. We can't do it because the users. And in many of those cases, it's going to be that the IT department is afraid that the users won't fix it. But if you try to do a proof of concept or a small test deployment, then it turns out that it's not really the end user that has the problem. It's going to be that they think they have the problem. Nowadays, a lot of people, when they buy a new computer in any store, they're going to have 8 or 8.1 on that machine. So they're already running that at home. So it's going to be like the anti-climax. It's like we expect people to have a lot of issues and they don't. So for some customers, it's actually going to be like, hey, we tried and we didn't have any complaints at all. Let's deploy Windows 8.1 across the entire operations we have. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's going to work for some of the customers.
And also customers who are bringing in other types of devices like slate devices, tablets, they will be delivered with Windows 8.1. So even if a customer is running Windows 7 as their base image, they often have a pilot or some sort of deployment running Windows 8.1 anyway. But as I said, most customers are still on Windows 7, and the adoption rate for picking up Windows 8.1 has been slow, even though once you start to use it, once you start to learn how to use the keyboard shortcuts and all that, it's pretty good. And that just has a bit of a learning threshold to it. And I know that Microsoft has got this feedback over and over again the last year, and they are making changes to make sure that the next release of Windows won't have those or that configuration, really. I mean, you guys have probably seen the start menus coming back, the ability to run, Metro-style applications or modern-style applications inside a normal Windows instead of full screen. So they have listened.
And as far as we know, this is as far as we know, the deployment process for the next generation of Windows is going to be pretty similar to Windows 8.1. So even if customer says, "Oh, we're going to wait," well, maybe you should try 8.1 now, because if you can make that work and you can start test your applications, most likely those applications will be tested for 8.1, which means they're going to most likely works in the next version anyhow. So
sure. So it really sounds like that attendees of this session, even if their business isn't quite ready for 8.1, they can at least learn the latest tips and tricks. They can learn how to modernize their task sequences and potentially be ready for the next version, or improve their existing process.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, hey guys, we try and keep these videos pretty short and sweet. I think we had a pretty interesting discussion today. Of course, people who want to know more details about the session, you can always go to the MMS website, and under sessions, you can check some details there. Otherwise, before we go, if you guys could just tell us where we can find out more about you, where we can find you on the web, and if there's any resources where we can kind of prep ourselves for this session.
Well, the two main places to find me and Mikael is our blogs and on Twitter. And Mikael's handle on Twitter is Mikael_Nystrom, with an O instead of the Swedish Ö that has in his last name. And his blog is actually deploymentbunny.com, and I kid you not, it's really named like that. My handle on Twitter is Arwidmark. It's J and my last name put together. And then my blog is deploymentresearch.com. And this is where I post most of my findings in terms of OSD.
So that's how you can tell that Johan is the serious guy. Deployment research just sounds just a bit more serious than Deployment Bunny, but it's easy to find the blogs. And there are other informations too. Johan and I did a work for Microsoft. So for the basic understanding of deployment, it's going to be available. It is available on Microsoft.com/Springboard. Search for Windows 8.1 and deployment. There's 3 major sections for creating the reference image, deploying using MDT, and deploying Configuration Manager. They are really good. That's the feedback we have so far. And they contain all the basic steps on how to do this.
Yeah, step-by-step guidance, really.
Great. Well, again, I think I'm in the same boat with a lot of the viewers here today, where I've used both of your websites over the years to help me with my operating system deployment process, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys at MMS and certainly attending your session. So, hey, you guys, I'm very thankful that you took the time out of your day to do an interview today, and I hope people get some value out of this video and they get excited for your session. So, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.